Hello, how are you? My name is Aston and I'm a mixed media artist, and usually I would say mixed media painting is really where my mixed media lives, is in painting, but we're not going to talk about painting at all today. We're going to talk about pencils, and particularly these pencils and this paper. So these are the Derwent Drawing Pencils, and this is the Fabriano Black Black paper. It's a match made in heaven. I've really been getting into paper in the past year, or I guess this year, learning about material and thickness and which materials are good on which paper. So I've been trying a bunch of different kinds, and I bought this paper on a whim. I was looking for black paper in store at Blick, and she got the small size first. So I think this is 8x8. This is just the I loved it and used every page, which is why there's only a back piece of cardboard left. Because if you have a nice piece of cardboard, you can paint on it. Anyway, I got this size in the black paper, and I just really fell in love with the paper, and I started using color pencil on the paper towards the end of the paper pad, and I couldn't stop, so I got the big size. I think this is A3, which here in America we don't use those, although I think we should. We should do what the rest of the world does, you know? GSM, A3 size, nearly 30 centimeters by 42 centimeters. You would think I could convert it straight away to inches. I cannot. So much for that education sticking around. So this paper, these pencils, match made in heaven. Any color pencils, actually, if you're into colored pencils, work great on this paper, probably. I'm going to talk some more as we go through what's in here about both of these products and why I love them so much and why I love them together. But I have blazed through this entire 20 sheets of Fabriano Black Black paper. I blazed through it in probably this month of May, so pretty quick. And mostly abstracts are inside. Abstracts that are made with Derwent Drawing Pencil. Now they come in 72, and I really hope to try the new colors someday, but I think this is the original size, which is 24, and they're all earth tones. Beautiful, as you can see, and very well loved. My set is very well loved. They aren't like other pencils. First of all, they have a thicker core, which I think is part of what makes them so special, but it's like such a buttery, smooth experience putting these pencils on paper. I've used them on a bunch of different paper. They win every time. And if you love mixed media, you'll love layering with these. These are natural, more muted tones, carefully curated into the 24 set, and I do use them for nature scenes. I have done. I'm very inspired by this scene here on the tin. I'm going to tell you the name of this artist because I want to learn more about them. This is just gorgeous. Gotta love good cover art, you know? That makes you want to use the product, and yeah, you can fall right into this drawing. Anyhow, I digress. Wow, it's just like it's like a luxury experience, this paper and these pencils. And I'm going to show you what I've made with them. So these are all abstracts, really. I filled up the whole thing with abstract color pencil drawings that are mostly Derwent Drawing Pencil, but I've peppered in some other supplies here and there. A lot of Derwent products in here. I also use some Graphitint at times, and this very, very old, ancient tin of Derwent watercolor pencils. I think these are actually from the 90s because the branding is still Rexel Derwent, and now it's just Derwent. Anyway, they work great. That's the good thing about some art supplies. They age very well, as these have. I also use some Caran Neocolors in here, and a Polychromos, Faber-Castell Polychromos color pencil, which I have really been loving those this year. They're an oil-based pencil. Derwent Drawing Pencils are wax-based pencil. Polychromos is actually my first experience with the oil-based color pencil, and I'm into it. Anyway, both kinds of pencil work just beautiful in here, and as I was saying before I went off on a tangent, I had this size. I used every page. Maybe I'll show you just a little bit of what my wall looks like with all my art supplies. I like to swatch out everything, all my supplies on usually white and also black paper, and post it where I can see it in my workspace, and I get inspired by what's there, and I can see what I have, and I also can see how things show up on different paper. And on this original pad of paper, I swatched out a lot of my materials, so you'll see them. Insert B-roll here. So yeah, that's mostly how I used this until I got to the end and I started doing these color pencil abstracts, and I can't stop. So yeah, I'm just gonna go through them. We'll talk about them a little bit. Yes, I'm gonna flip through everything quite fast, and then I'll go back slowly. So these are kind of what started the movement for myself, are these abstracts that I made. These are a combination of Derwent Drawing Pencil and Polychromos, and a lot of them I did with my non-dominant hand, which is interesting. A lot of these actually I did with my non-dominant hand, or a combination of both. Why that is, I'm not sure. I don't know, maybe it frees up something. Anyway, so these are really where I started just enjoying making abstract compositions with color pencil. So yeah, these three I know are all a combo of Polychromos and Derwent Drawing Pencil. So I got the larger size of the black paper, and the series continued. Yeah, we'll just go through them quickly, and then I'll spend more time on each one. This is a mix of materials. I think it's mostly Neocolor and Derwent Drawing Pencil. Neocolor, Derwent Drawing Pencil, 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 Derwent Drawing Pencil. This is Derwent Graphitint, which is made with graphite. It comes out great on this paper in particular. Graphitint and Derwent Drawing Pencil. Derwent Drawing Pencil. Derwent Drawing Pencil. I think underneath is a layer of the Derwent Watercolor Pencil, and then on top is Derwent Drawing Pencil. My watercolor pencils were great also on this paper. Derwent Drawing Pencil, Derwent Drawing Pencil, these are kind of more materials tests, which I like to do a lot. This is acrylic wash, Derwent Drawing Pencil and some Polychromos. Same here, Derwent Drawing Pencil, Polychromos. These are the ones that are either Polychromos or a blend. Polychromos, Polychromos, Polychromos. This might be a blend, or maybe it's just Polychromos. That's a quick flip through, and now I'll talk about everything in more depth. So I probably should seal these with a fixative. I have not yet done that, so there is some transfer. I'm thinking of maybe making these into some prints of about the same size, like an A3 size print. Let me know if you would be interested in ordering a print and which ones you like the best. So this is Derwent Drawing Pencil, and I do kind of set guidelines for myself when I'm doing abstract work. Like, I think because the colors are so nature inspired, I have done some texture experiments, like trying to use a texture found in nature maybe. So this one, a lot of these kind of look like feathers or fur. So I do consider, you know, what kind of moves I'm making with the pencil, but I also just free flow. But this one looks like these textures are definitely more inspired by like fur, feathers, natural materials. Some of these I really like, and I guess I'll spend longer time talking about those, but sometimes I'll fill the whole page, sometimes I'll try to let the paper shine through a bit. Not on this one. I enjoy filling the page. Yeah, I think it's cool. Have a bit of transfer here. And if you do want a print of anything, I will definitely get to work on trying to sweep away some of that transfer. Anyhow, this is a more feathery twig, like a nest, kind of marks with the pencils. Sometimes I'll pull colors at random and just use those. Sometimes I'll use all the colors in the palette. I think I used a select number of pencils and tried to leave some of the paper and successfully. Some of these I think would work better like in vertical than a landscape. So I'll have to experiment with which kind of, which view of them I like the best. These layer great on top of like any media that I've tried to use them with. They work perfectly on top of gouache or acrylic gouache or watercolor. They're great like if you're adding more details in or finishing a mixed media piece, or just doing a drawing. I mean, they really shine on their own, but anyway, because these are layered on top of a watercolor pencil, I just wanted to make a note that that they layer great on other media. They play well with others. So yeah, for this one, I think I tried to use every watercolor pencil in the old box of 12. And then I activated it with water, let it dry, and I came back with some of the drawing pencils. You can really blend with these, also these pencils in particular. You can really get great blends, and in some of these I've really focused on the blend. But here there's a really nice merge of the ruby earth tone and the lighter purple. This isn't my favorite composition necessarily, but I like doing it. Like the act of making it is very satisfying to me. And I've been doing these a lot at night, at the end of the day, like after staring at a computer screen all day. It really helps wind down the day, working in my sketchbook or doing these pencil abstracts. Okay, Derwent Drawing Pencil. Yeah, here I can see I've been experimenting with pressure. These kind of more straight line hatch marks are in contrast to these more loopy, rounded ones. Applying a lot of pressure on the application or not seems to be what I was really playing around with in this one. So these are Derwent Drawing Pencils, and I think I was trying to maybe find a watery texture, like a waterfall. I guess it's a colorful waterfall, but I think with like the smoother, straighter lines underneath and the loopy ones on top. I think that's what's going on here. Also like playing around with the merge into a zigzag. Nothing too deep. I will say, when I was a younger person, I grew up in Houston, Texas, and we have the Twombly gallery there at the Menil collection, and I definitely spent a lot of time there, and I can see that kind of influence here in the loopies. Yeah, I would say that stuff had a big impression on me. Twombly, if you don't know him, look him up. Okay. This is definitely one of my favorites of the bunch, and I think the way that I made it is I painted first with the Graphitint, which shows up great on nearly all kinds of paper except for I have like a black cold press, rough texture watercolor paper, and it doesn't so much show up on that, but this, I don't know if I've said, maybe not, this paper has like the greatest texture, especially for pencil. It's super smooth, and also the weight of the paper is thick. Anyway, Graphitint shows up great on this paper. I used to think it was just Graphitint, and then I realized there's an I in there that I had not seen, hadn't noticed. Graphitint, because it's made with graphite. But first I painted with the Graphitint, made those shapes and let them dry, and then I came back in after and filled in some of the empty spaces with drawing pencil. I don't know if I can really explain what's appealing to me about the composition, but I really like this one. This one too. This is just Derwent Drawing Pencil. A lot of my abstracts when using these drawing pencils, I think, are tree, bark, twig inspired, and this one you can't see it as much as some others. Maybe I'll show you some from my sketchbook, but this really has that like twig feeling, nest, sort of weaving, sticks together feeling on this side, and then this side feels more feathery. Trying to let some paper shine through, and I like the color choice on that one. I don't know if this one is one I prefer vertically. Maybe. These are definitely more wing-like, inspired, feathery. I can definitely see like a wing when I look in these formations. These are more feathery shapes. Yeah, I've been experimenting with the sharpness of the pencil, the dullness of the pencil. I can't say enough how versatile these colored pencils are. And if you like colored pencils, and if you like them in mixed media, I would definitely recommend the Derwent Drawing Pencil. I think they're unlike anything else out there. in texture maybe, or maybe that's because of the larger core, but in texture and also the colorway, they're just beautiful. I really have been impressed with the brand in general, Derwent, for mixed media. They have a lot of really cool, unique offerings. Some things I haven't tried, but I'm curious to try. The ink tints line, which is kind of like watercolor. They come in pencils and also in palettes, but those are made from ink. So I'd be really curious to try those. And yeah, the Graphitint has graphite, which gives it that sparkly, subtle sparkly kind of effect. And they have some other really cool offerings. I think they also offer like a graphite, color graphite palette. That's not the Graphitint, but they're more like solid tones. I'd be curious to try those, but Derwent in general, I've been really just impressed with their mixed media offerings, and I think unique products out there that stand out. I do like the composition of this one, although I might prefer it in the vertical. This is more kind of fast and loose, maybe. Just enjoying, I think, putting the pencil on the paper and experimenting with where to start and stop. A lot of the times I'll make an initial shape and then branch out from there. I do kind of have rules that I follow or break. Or ways that I like to start with an abstract, but I like the expressiveness of this one. I don't love the composition as much, but you know, personal pref. This one is a little more interesting to me, and I don't even know if I could really tell you why. I prefer this one. I like that there are some blends, there are some areas of blend, there are some areas of just colors lining up next to each other but not blending into each other. I like the composition better. This too might be better in the vertical. I really like this one, and I was trying to really work on the blends in this one. How does one color become another color? And how can you make that like a seamless transition? I think some of that is like really successful in here. And the oranges and the reds, and in here in the greens. I also like the composition too. I guess I start and then I follow usually by what's on the page. And I just go where it takes me. But yeah, I really like this one. It has a more sort of painterly feel with the blending of the colors, and I really like that about it. And you can get some very delicious blends with the Derwent Drawing Pencil. This one has a similar vibe to the one we just saw, and I do like it as well. I think I tried to use more the black, the darkest black and the brown, the chocolate brown shades in the drawing pencil. This has some groovy blending. It's kind of like that orange sherbet blend. Kind of purple and an orange and a yellow and a white. And then it also gets mixed in here with the green. That's kind of cool. I like to find what's harmonious, what's dissonant, what's working together, what's contrasting. But there's a kind of movement to my eye, and I like that. And I think you can really get that with these pencils in particular. Here is another Derwent Drawing Pencil. But yeah, long story short, I mostly like playing around when I make these. It's not like I know what they're gonna look like in advance. I don't know, I think there's, especially for me, there's a huge time and place for experimentation and just playing around in my sketchbooks with different media and on different surfaces. And by doing that, also, the more you get to know your materials, you know, the more things you can do with them, because you discover things by doing. This one is cool as well. Yeah, I see some tree barky, trunky shapes. So yeah, some of the abstracts I would say are really nature inspired. Maybe more A to C than this is inspired by a bird's wing or nest or a wave or whatever. But I don't know, I remember in making these, I was thinking about like the shape of the line a lot. And of course, repeating it over and over and over. I think that this actually is maybe the very last one that I made in here, because I ran out of sheets of paper. But I like that there's, it's not so condensed in the color fields. There's more paper coming through. There's more kind of space in the individual patches. Yeah, this one is more patchwork, and a couple blends, but not deep blending. But I like that this one feels a little bit more expansive. But if you think that Derwent Drawing Pencils would not be good for abstracts, think again. This is definitely more of a materials test. Neocolors also, Caran Neocolor 2s also work great on this paper, Fabriano Black Black. These are some Neocolor 2s that have been activated with water, and then round Derwent Drawing Pencil. This is a combination I like a lot, not necessarily here on this piece of paper, but in general, Neocolor and Derwent Drawing Pencil. Yeah, I'm really going for it here. I made the Neocolor kind of outlines first and then filled in the shapes with the drawing pencils and going for different effects. Like this is a more woven together kind of blend, where these stripes are more, this is my favorite shape in here. These stripes are more differentiated. Yeah, I think these are more pleasing than those ones, but it's all valuable, you know. So I would say, I mean, I've been using these a lot in the past year and a half, but I use them really, really hard in these 20 pages of paper. And that's still a great chunk of pencil left. So they are more on the pricey side, but I think that's because the quality of the product is very high, and they will last you a long time, even if you're vigorously using them on a regular basis. Yeah, I'm a huge fan, huge fan. I think I skipped over the Polychromos. Just bring them back for you. I do really like Polychromos. This is a slightly different experience. I would say they are velvety smooth, but the Derwent Drawing Pencil is like in a class of its own. I've been enjoying the Polychromos and trying to figure out what I can do with oil-based colored pencils. Maybe use them more with oil pastels and oil paint. Doing some experimenting. These also layer and blend great. Yeah, this is not super exciting to me. Compositionally, this one is much more exciting, I think. It's more dynamic, for sure. I really like this teal and blue swirl surrounded by the maroon and purple and yellow. The brown in the center. But you can see, yeah, this is all Polychromos, I think, and they have a great blend. And they layer well, and they play well with other media. Yeah, this I don't feel is like the strongest composition, but I like the color choice. This also is not the strongest composition, but sometimes I'm just having a good time on a piece of paper, and that's enough. And then back to these ones that definitely came out of really materials testing, I think, like, which is where a lot of great artwork, I think, comes from. Just like getting to know your materials on different surfaces, getting to know one material next to another material. That's actually how I get a lot of my inspiration. And what I like so much about working in a sketchbook, this is not a sketchbook, but what I like so much about working in a sketchbook is, I think, just the freedom, and it's a place to experiment. So, and I did use these 8x8 tiles, piece of paper, much of the same way. But you can see that a lot of that came out of just testing materials like they are here. And same thing, this is a blend of Derwent Drawing Pencil and Polychromos, seeing if they can play well together, right? Because they're different pencils. One is a wax-based, the Derwent Drawing Pencil is wax-based, the Polychromos is oil-based, and they play very well together. And then you can see from this, I made these ones. This is kind of like abstract landscape land. And then I think this one I was definitely thinking about more peacock feathers and blending. And then naturally, it makes sense that this would be the last one. This was the last piece of paper in the smaller pad, but I really like it. Feathery, but also like everything's going towards this place of light. It's pretty central, that's cool. And I like the color palette. Yeah, so doing those 3 little ones, of course, I ran out of paper and I was like, well, I really want to continue this journey that has been so satisfying, making these abstracts, these color pencil abstracts. So, yeah, if you have a nice thick piece of cardboard, like the backing of these pads, save it, put some gesso on it, and it's a great painting surface. I'm going to do that with this. And I'm also going to do that with this gorgeous piece of cardboard. The insides are all gone. This Fabriano Black Black. Also, if you're like a colored pencil or a gouache or acrylic gouache lover and haven't tried any of that stuff on like a deep black, beautiful, thick paper, you're missing out. Give it a try. I am buying another one immediately. Like, I've gone through this one and that one, and I'm without one at the moment, and I'm can't wait to have another one back. Great paper, great materials. I hope you enjoyed this. I haven't been posting so much, so many art videos. I haven't been posting as many as I had hoped at this point in the year, but I have been making a lot of art, and I'm sure I'll show it to you. I have a lot of finished sketchbooks or nearly finished sketchbooks. I did try to make a video where I went through like 3 of them, but I like to talk a lot about process, subject, material, etc. And it just was so long, so I think maybe I'll just go through them individually. Let me know if you would like a print of anything. Happy to make one for you. And you can just send me a screenshot of the one that you like. Yeah, I hope you're doing great. So yeah, what I was trying to say is, I haven't been posting a lot of videos, but I've also been enjoying just working without having to worry about turning the camera on, etc. Sometimes it's just the extra step, and sometimes I love doing it, and sometimes I don't know, I just like to not worry about it. But I do want to share my work with you, and I hope you've been doing very well. Please let me know if you've used this paper, if you've used this Match Made in Heaven combination. This paper, these pencils, really, I can't get enough. I cannot wait to have a new pad of Fabriano Black Black paper and color all over it. thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you later.